Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Security guard murdered at Pembroke Hall Primary forcing suspension of classes. Calls for restart of constitutional reform process. And later in sports, Jamaicans win hurdles event at Italy Meet. Thank you for joining us. I'm Shane Masters and here are the details. Classes at the Pembroke Hall Primary School have been suspended for the day after students stumbled upon the lifeless body of the night watchman this morning. The deceased has been identified as Owen Marner, otherwise called Chris, of a Waltham Park address. It had what appeared to be gunshot wounds. It's understood an 8-year-old boy saw the body face down and raised the alarm. Students, family members and the entire school community are shaken. The police surmise he may have been shot sometime after 10 last night.
We're still trying to piece things together. This situation is much uncertain as to exactly what could have led to this. From all indications, he would have been surprised and shot several times. We are still here, providing answers. I know school has been dismissed, but my Community Safety and Security team is here, led by our territorial officer, Ms. Walters, providing some counseling, providing some support for the staff. We're still here. Much of the teachers are still here, and we'll be galvanizing some support from our CBCs, from Restorative Justice, and our other partners to come in here tomorrow, because I know the children, of course, would have been emotionally.
And the classes were temporarily suspended at the Sydney Pagan STEM Academy in St. Elizabeth this morning after a female had what is suspected to have been a mental breakdown. It's understood that the incident left students and staff traumatized. All students except those sitting CXC exams were sent home. Attempts to get a response from administrators were unsuccessful. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says he's confident that good sense can prevail in the ongoing impasse between government and the opposition over the draft constitution reform report. Addressing this morning's post-cabinet press briefing, Mr. Holness stressed the importance of reaching a consensus. While the opposition has refused to sign the document, the government is seemingly open to reaching an agreement.
That I am disappointed, but I am not surprised. I'm not surprised that they would have tried to find every way out of seeing this process through to its rightful conclusion.
Opposition stance. Opposition leader Mark Golding yesterday highlighted a series of concerns, including the need to make the Caribbean Court of Justice as Jamaica's final appellate court. But Mr. Holness explained that it wasn't agreed for that decision to be made in this phase of the process.
Understanding that the process would be a phased process, that we would move on the matters on which we agreed, which would be the Jamaica becoming a republic, and the other matters that were a little bit more complex, on which consensus ought to be fully realized, that those would come in the second phase of the process.
In the meantime, a suggestion that the constitutional reform process should start from scratch. Nakinsky Robinson has the details.
With the constitutional reform process hitting a proverbial roadblock, there's a consensus among some sectors of society for the process to be restarted. This comes after opposition leader Mark Golding last week told his members on the Constitutional Reform Committee, CRC, not to sign the report which was sent to Cabinet on Monday. Mr. Golding earlier this week stated a number of clauses which he had issues with, including the move away from the Privy Council as Jamaica's final appellate court. Speaking on the morning agenda on Power 106 on Wednesday, Attorney-at-Law Kenyatta Powell says while it was stated that there must be consensus in moving away from the monarchy, that is clearly non-existent.
I thought that this process that the government inaugurated was bound to fail, because it was tainted by an original sin. And the original sin that it was tainted by was a lack of democracy. The government of Jamaica specifically chose a mechanism through the form of the Constitutional Reform Committee where critical discussions about the Constitution of Jamaica, the supreme law of Jamaica, were being held in closed doors, in closed quarters.
He further noted that with the government knowing the position of the opposition People's National Party regarding the Privy Council, it was seemingly a tactic to perplex it by putting that aspect in phase 2 of the transition from the monarchy. But Executive Director of Jamaicans for Justice, Michael Jackson, says the matter has now become political and seemingly not in the interest of the citizenry.
That it is not about the political parties or the feelings of the CRC members. It is about the people and the people's business. Phased implementation and wholesale consensus ought not to be confused because you have some fundamental matters. For example, civil society organizations, over 20 of us met, including individuals, to say that you cannot get rid of the monarchy with 2 branches of government, which is your executive branch and your legislator. But in effect, you still have the monarchy as the head of your judicial branch. It does not make sense. We need to move to full decolonization.
As for moving forward,
well, I think this process is dead, you know. I think this process is dead, and I will mourn over the body. I thought that birth was given in an undemocratic way, an anti-democratic way. So this process is dead.
Nekinski Robinson, TVJ News.
As concerns heighten about the Atrazenca vaccine, the Health Ministry is assuring Jamaicans that there are no reported cases of the rare blood clotting side effect in the island. It comes as the manufacturer of Atrazenca withdrew the vaccine from markets worldwide following several lawsuits and a decline in the demand for the vaccine. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton gave an update after being quizzed by journalists at Wednesday's post-cabinet press briefing.
There are no reports to date of any cases in Jamaica of persons, Jamaicans, suffering that side effect, that rare side effect involving the AstraZeneca.
Dr. Tufton further stressed that Jamaica stopped administering the vaccine in the island from July 2022 as the demand for the vaccine fell. He also indicated that the concerns over the side effects have been highly exaggerated by persons seeking to create panic in the country. In the meantime, Chief Medical Officer Dr. Jacqueline Besesa McKenzie also allayed the fears among Jamaicans who took the vaccine.
Side effects I note that persons are concerned about tend to happen between 3 days to 3 months. So some persons are wondering, if I had received AstraZeneca then in 2021 and early 2022, am I still going to have this possibility of these side effects? And the answer is no. The likelihood of developing those side effects, 3 days to 3 months.
And we will have more on this story in Primetime News at 7. The St. James Municipal Corporation has announced the launch of the Montego Bay Step Up program. As we hear in this report, the program is aimed at enhancing environmental protection and urban public order.
A new and improved Montego Bay. That's the promise being made by the St. James Municipal Corporation.
Step up. Striving towards environmental protection and urban preservation. Step up.
Mayor of Montego Bay and Chairman of the St. James Municipal Corporation, Councillor Richard Vernon, says Mabay Step Up will address the issues of solid waste, damaged infrastructure, unlicensed businesses, and other challenges plaguing the city. Among the participating entities are the Jamaica Constabulary Force, Transport Authority, St. James Public Health, Jamaica Fire Brigade, Tourism Enhancement Fund, National Environment and Planning Agency, and the National Solid Waste Management Authority. But the city had a similar program that's been in place for years, Operation Restore Paradise. Mayor Vernon revealed that the municipality will be closing that project.
There are several differences between Restore Paradise and Mobile Step Up. That operation called upon intergovernment collaboration, just the same, but it is more of a join-up government approach where you had agencies for a day or a week or over a limited time, committing themselves to meet some targets, specified targets throughout that period. Step Up is an intergovernance, joint governance approach.
He went further.
The program has two overarching components. One has to do with environmental protection and the other with public order. Step Up will not address all the issues that we have, but we have issues that we specify and aim to address. We must get it done.
The corporation says it intends to have the program implemented in schools in and around Montego Bay. Waste management activities under the program have already begun. Amoy Harriet, TVJ News.
And it's time for a break here on the Midday News. Stay with us, more stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. The public's assistance is being sought in locating 76-year-old Alvin Marshall. Mr. Marshall, who suffers from dementia, was last seen at home on May 11 in Independence City, Portmore. He is 5 feet 6 inches tall. When last seen, he was wearing a gray button-down shirt, khaki shorts, and a blue, red, and white slipper. Anyone who has seen him is being asked to contact the Caymanas Police Station in Portmore at 876-412-8911. And it's now time for the Business Minute.
The Bank of Jamaica is reporting a decline in the number of bill payment transactions in 2023. The central bank says up to November last year, total bill payments amounted to about 17.63 million transactions, valued at 382.64 billion Jamaican dollars. The BOJ's annual report says this reflected a decline of 2.6% in transaction volume compared to January to November 2022. There was an 18.1% or $84.78 billion drop in the value of transactions relative to the outturns for 2022. The U.S. Department of Justice says it is considering whether to prosecute Boeing over two deadly crashes involving its 737 MAX aircraft. The aviation giant breached the terms of an agreement made in 2021 that shielded the firm from criminal charges linked to the incidents. Boeing has denied that it violated the agreement. The crashes, one in Indonesia in 2018 and another in Ethiopia in 2019, killed a total of 346 people. The DOJ said the plane maker failed to design, implement, and enforce a compliance and ethics program to prevent and detect violations of the U.S. fraud laws throughout its operations. Boeing said it was looking forward to the opportunity to respond to the Justice Department and believes it honored the terms of that agreement. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm Hal Shane Burke.
And here's a preview of what's coming up in this evening's Health Report.
In this evening's Health Report, we look at neck pain.
First of all, we look at the patient's complaint and we take a history. And once we know what happened to them and then we examine them, we can see the physical effects of that injury. And we adjust their spine manually using our hands to realign the spine, to take the pressure off the delicate spinal nerves, and let the body begin the process of healing itself from within.
That's the Health Report in Primetime News at 7. And now for today's Healthy Living tip. Practice good posture, adjust your sleep position, don't carry heavy weight on your shoulders, and stay active.
Time now for the top regional and international stories.
In the region, Guyana's former government minister Nigel de Ramlal is due to return to police station on Wednesday as investigations continue into allegations that he sexually assaulted a woman. The former minister, who was released on $500,000 Guyana dollar bail Tuesday night, had earlier surrendered to the police for questioning in relation to the allegations. He has repeatedly denied the allegations, which was made by a former employee of the local government ministry. On the international scene, Slovakia's Prime Minister Robert Fico has been hospitalized after being shot on Wednesday. According to reports, he was hit in the stomach after 4 shots were fired outside the House of Culture in the town of Handlover, some 150 kilometers northeast of the capital, where the leader was meeting with supporters. Fico's condition was not immediately known. A suspect has been detained. And the Biden administration has told key lawmakers that it is sending a new package of more than $1 billion in arms and ammunition to Israel. It's the first arms shipment to Israel to be announced by the administration since it put another arms transfer consisting of 3,500 bombs on hold earlier in the month. The administration has said it paused that earlier transfer to keep Israel from using the bombs in its ongoing offensive in the crowded southern Gaza city of Rafah. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Kerry Simpson.
And we head to a quick break. When we come back, Jordan Ford will have your midday sports report.